Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how I'm going to paint up these Thunderwolves. Just going to do the cavalry part. So this is the Canis Wolfborn that I did a long time ago, and I'm basically going to do the same thing here. So I'm starting with like a Scorched Brown at the top, working through Bestial Brown, and then a Vermin Brown and a Bleached Bone kind of at the bottom. So it's kind of like a stippling and dry brushing exercise, as well as a bit of Devlin Mud wash at the top level. So I'm getting the darkest colors at the top and then working down to a lighter color on the underside. So what I'm going to do, start out with Scorched Brown, and I'm going to try to put a fairly heavy coat of that on here using an old dry brush. And so just trying to get a decent coverage here on the top half of the model. So I'll skip ahead and show what that looks like when I'm done. Alright, so I've got that Scorched Brown all done. So you can see I just kind of went along the top half of the body there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a coat of Bestial Brown on basically the rest of the fur, and I'm going to try to get all of the nooks and crannies. I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but I started out with a spray paint of black, and I got most of it. Some of the underside stuff here isn't covered well, but that's okay. So that's these three guys, and yeah, ready for the Bestial Brown. So same idea, just putting on a quick coat of that, and would like to blend it a little bit into that Scorched Brown, but I'm not too worried about that initially. I just want to get a full coverage of all of the rest of the bits here. And you can see that Bestial Brown is a bit more of a reddish brown, and that's good. I like that. It gives it a bit more of a natural look rather than just a dirty brown. So kind of a warm brown. And I'll come back when that's all done. So the idea is just doing sort of the lower half, and then I'll blend up into the next bit there, just kind of with dry brushing, but for the most part I want this to be solid on the lower half. Alright, so I've got that Bestial Brown all done, so that's that coat. I think I said the wrong color before. I actually meant Vomit Brown. It's the other V brown. I think it's Vermin. So I'm going to do Vomit Brown, working towards the edges, and then I'm going to do a little bit of Bleached Bone. I don't think I do Snakebite Leather. I should pull the paint up. Actually, you know what? I could do that in between. So that next one will be Snakebite. Okay, so let's do Snakebite Leather now, and give that a shake up. Okay, so there's my Snakebite Leather, and I'm just going to work towards blending this down below, and I'll come back when that's done. Alright, so I just finished the Snakebite Leather, and here we are now. So all I'm doing is just using the same dry brush. This is an old Citadel small dry brush. It's really beaten up, but just working my way down along the legs and trying to get the shoulders and the sort of the inside of the torso there, trying to maintain a little bit of differentiation, the shadows, and yeah. So next we're going to do Vomit Brown, and then after that will be Bleached Bone. Alright, welcome back, and here we are with the Vomit Brown all done. And so you can see how it's getting nice gradients there, and just dry brushing it on, kind of a heavy dry brush, and each one of these guys I think is coming along nicely. Those extra layers help help the blending and get a little bit more depth in the color, and I'll probably go back with some washes and pull out some of the different different levels or contours, I guess it is, on the wolf itself. And I'll have to do more detail on the face and the cybernetics and the saddle as well. Okay, so I'll be back after I do the Bleached Bone, and then it'll be just doing some paint brushing for details. Alright, so I'm all done the bleached bone now, and here's what they all look like. So just focused again on the bottom side, and a little bit more detail on the face, and I'm going to touch that up with bleached bone. But first I'm going to do some Devlin mud just to shade the different areas here. So I'm going to paint it on the specific areas that I want to shade, which will be in and around these the contours here, as well as the top of the hair on the back. So I've got my Devlin mud, and I just realized that mine's getting empty, so I'm just going to paint it along the top here. So the idea being this will darken out the top of the sort of the mane, and I'll use that to get some more detail in here. So as you can see, I'm not really spending a lot of time just trying to get the impression, so that'll just help accentuate some of those shapes, and overall when that dries it'll just help suggest a bit more of the depth of the model. So I'll do that to the rest of them, and I'll come back with I guess probably the faces next. Alright, so I've done the bleached bone on the face of this wolf here, and so I'm just trying to accentuate some of those highlights with a bit smoother than the dry brushing was giving me. And so let's move on to another one, and I'll just kind of show you what I'm doing. So I'm thinning the paints down a little bit, and just trying to paint the raised areas just to give a bit more detail there. And oops, probably can't see that. So okay, so I'll show you what this looks like when I'm done. Alright, so I've done some a bit more detail, so bolt gun metal on here. I've done some Scorched Brown for the saddle, and I'll give that a little bit of a highlight and probably a wash. And I've done Deneb Stone on the claws and teeth, and some Chaos Black on the nose. Other than that, I think the tongue needs to be done. I did Canis Wolfborn, I did the tongue there, sort of a reddish color. I've got a paint chip on it. Kind of like a brownish red. But other than that, these guys are done, so I think I'm going to call this video complete, and come back in a little while, and there'll be the one for the riders. So I've got these three guys here all ready to go. So I've got my Thunder Hammer, and I've also got two guys like this, and one of them is going to have Melta Bombs. I put that already on there, so that's going to be my Thunderwolf squad. One plain guy, one guy with Melta Bomb, one guy with Thunder Hammer. I think it's 185 points, and wound allocation will apply, and so that's going to be a pretty deadly squad. So if I zoom out a little bit here, let's see what's on my table. So there's what the Thunderwolves look like after that painting, and here's Canis Wolfborn to go along with them. So that's my Thunderwolf painting tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it, and check my channel, subscribe, like, whatever, leave a comment, and see you next time.